I'm in the cannabis industry. Because if we were in Arkansas right now, and all of you were farmers, you would not have said that. Because in 2019, 94% of all hemp crops failed. Why did they fail? Because the farmers were not instructed that hemp is not like a normal crop like corn or soybeans or wheat. Why not? Because you don't need a supply chain with those other crops like you do with hemp, is it? It's not anything like that. And therefore, they didn't know that you couldn't use a regular combine on the crops because it would destroy sometimes half of the CBD content. They didn't know you had to dry it or it would mold because, as you know, in Arkansas there's a little bit of humidity. They didn't know you had to have a place to store it, and then if there was no extractors within about 200 miles, it would go hot. And then if you didn't have an extractor that had actually contracts with other people that they could actually do something with the isolate, distillate, or crude, that they would never get paid. So therefore, 94% of crops failed last year. This is a dynamic time to be alive. There's nothing quite like cannabis. There's nothing in the world like this industry, and it's brand new. 3.5 years ago, we got into the hemp, CBD, and cannabis space. It was unlike anything I've ever seen. It happened to me. I was sitting in a microbrewery in Fort Collins. That's how we do business there. If you don't like beer, don't move there. You'll hate it. And I was talking to a gentleman, and he started to talk to me specifically about what cannabis does. He just got hired in a CBD and hemp company. And after the 2 hours, I was sold. And I said, man, I don't know anything about this plant, but I am so in. And the next thing you know, we had business consulting contracts come from a 20-year history of executive coaching. So I've been coaching different cannabis companies and founders and entrepreneurs, anywhere from new startups to publicly traded companies, anywhere from genetics all the way to the sale of CBD products and cannabis products, dispensaries, all in between. And here's what I know. People think they know more than they do in the industry. It's amazing, isn't it? You know, I worked in general business for 20 years. People will tell you, I don't know these things. In cannabis, they will say this, I know everything there is to know about cannabis. And it's been really a shocker to meet how many people know 100% of an industry that's less than a couple years old in the hemp industry. Well, I want to talk to you today about attracting cannabis investors. And I want to share with you how this talk started. Because it was just last year when we were connected with a $24 billion hedge fund manager in California, and we connected with him, and the gentleman on the phone said to me, David, I'm so frustrated. I have $24 billion I can pour into cannabis, and I can't seem to find competent business people. I can't find businesses that I can put my money into. Would you help? And I said, well, you know, we have 20 years of experience in coaching and consulting. What do you need? He goes, no, it's really simple. I need these 7 things. And I said, well, that's not too difficult. And he said, well, why don't you start to attract, cannabis people that are looking for investments? And I said, this is going to be so exciting. So we started a brand new, focus on cannabis, specifically with investments. And what we found was a couple criteria that people thought investors needed. And one of those was that they would have a pro forma that was worth $100 million before they started the company. It was really amazing, the amount of evaluations that we were seeing in the industry. And we were shocked. And we would say to somebody, tell us about your company. No, we just got it valued at $150 million. Great. What's your domain? What's that? No. Show me your email address. No, we haven't quite set that up yet. How can you be evaluated at $150 million if I can't even contact you? So we've been finding a lot of things, and we've been having a lot of fun. Hopefully you kept your sense of humor if you've been in the industry longer than a year. If you have not laughed every day like our team has laughed, you are probably getting really frustrated with the industry. So I hope you kept your sense of humor. So my name is David Wilkinson. I'm one of the co-founders here at the Hemp Business Advisors. And I want to share with you some secrets after we talked to over 100 cannabis companies last year of what investors are looking for. And if you're looking for investment or other people that are in your circle of influence, how to help them to get ready to get funded. Because I'll tell you what, there's more money invested right now in cannabis than almost any other industry that we've ever experienced. There's so much money. It's so easy to get funded in this industry. There's so many people that think they're fundable that are not. And so what I'm going to talk to you today is I'm going to talk to you from one side of my mouth, coming from the investment perspective. If you're looking for investment or no other people, and then the other side of the investor's perspective of what they're looking for, so that people really get to know what they need to do before they get funded. So let's take a look at some of these ideas here. All right, so the millionaire networking mindset is the concept we're going to talk about. So here's some of the ideas that we're going to talk about. Here we go. Some industry investment uniqueness, a millionaire networking mindset, the largest investor secret, B2B, and then some concluding thoughts. So let's look at what's unique in the industry. So I don't know about you, but if you've been in the industry longer than a year, you're called Ancient One, because there's so many people that came in and jumped ship. So I don't know how your database is done through the virus. For us, we've lost over 25% of our database of over 400 cannabis businesses that we know, and they've gone out of business. When somebody closes down their domain, their email no longer works, it means that their company closes. That's the last thing that you turn off is your domain. So what we've learned is that if the person doesn't have passion, they're not going to make it in this industry. In fact, typically, I try to talk 1 to 10 companies out of getting into cannabis every single month. Because I just say to people, I ask the question, tell me about your experience with the plant. Tell me about your passion, your calling to the industry. Because if you don't have a passion that is unrivaled, you will not make it in the cannabis space. It doesn't work that way. And everybody can pick out the person that's trying to break into the market that doesn't care about people or the planet or the plant and just trying to make money. They always fail. They always leave because they don't have what it takes. And all of us that are sitting here going, yeah, this plant has changed my life. I love the cannabis space. It's because you have a calling and a passion for it, and that's why you're in it. I was talking to a CPA recently, about a month ago, and he said, David, I want to get into cannabis. I said, great, tell me your story. How has the plant changed your life? How did you find your passion, your calling? And he said this to me, I don't care about the plant. I just want to make a lot of money. And I said, okay, so, that's good. I would like to know, are you planning on losing at least 6 figures to break into the market? Because that's what it's going to take. Oh, no, I'm not going to lose a penny. I said, well, then I can't help you. Because people that have been in cannabis have lost money being involved in it because they believe in it. And sometimes you just partner with the wrong people. I'm sure nobody in here has ever partnered with the wrong person. Okay, so let's look at some industry investment uniqueness. So most investment discussions revolve around the concept of percentages, not global impact. This is a great point. When you talk to people in cannabis, you know what they say? I'm developing a product, I've got a service, and I want to reach the world with it. You don't talk to other people in other industries that talk about having a global impact. They talk about having something in their city or their state, maybe nationally, but not globally. We have people all the time that say, guys, I want to create a product that can touch people in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, around the world. Number 2, decision makers look at ROI and the length of time it will take to accomplish their goals, not how many people's lives will be changed. Over and over and over, it's about life change in cannabis. And guess what people say that are looking for funding? Many times they'll say this, I don't want somebody's money that doesn't care about my business. I don't want an investor to come in here and start telling me what to do with my company. I want them to be just as passionate about my company as I am. That makes it very unique because in other industries, they don't care. They just want the money. It doesn't matter if the person cares about the company or not. They just want to make more money and make it as fast as they can. Third, normative industry investors review facts and statistics are not influenced by the amount of emotion pulsating throughout a movement. This is a very important one. You're in cannabis. If you're going to be here long term, it's because you care about the movement. And that's about cannabis. Cannabis is not about the plant. It's about a movement. And when you get swept up on it, and swept up in it, you change other people's lives. That means when a person like that thinks about investment, they have a different set of criteria than general business. So the question is, if you're looking for investment right now, you're looking for investors, how have you attracted the right people to come into your life? Because the law of attraction really works in the cannabis industry. There's more intuitive people that we've met in the cannabis industry than in 20 years in regular general business. And I'm not saying if you're in general business, you don't have intuition. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that in cannabis, the intuition level is so high. And that was a pun. Okay, so let me tell you, for instance, for those of you that went to NOCO Hemp Expo last year, the largest hemp symposium in the world, there were over 10,000 people here in Denver. It was incredible. And I happened to have the pleasure to be at the Investors Forum. There was about 300 people all over the world came. And the gentleman up front said, I just flew in from London, England, and just yesterday our hedge fund made the decision to put $1 trillion into the cannabis industry in the next 36 months. And everybody was like cheering. It was awesome. And then there was a break, and then we came back, and a person speaking was boring, because sometimes financial people are boring. No offense, CPAs. And so I said, I'm going to go walk the hallway. I just need to stretch my legs. It was a long day, and I walked out in the hallway, and I was walking back, and there's two guys standing there. And it was really clear I'm supposed to talk to them. Now, come on now. If you've been in the industry a little bit, you know what I'm talking about. You just connect with somebody, and you're like, I'm supposed to talk to that person. And I walked up, and I talked to the people. The next thing you know, it was a $10,000 sale. It wasn't trying to make a sale. It was just trying to learn something at the Investors Forum. When you're in the right place, with the right product, in the right cannabis industry, it's not difficult to find your flow. And hopefully you found yours at this conference. So, what is the millionaire networking mindset? So this is an important one. This philosophy is found in certain entrepreneurs that has cultivated a thought life focused upon wealth principles. If you know anything about Napoleon Hill, he talks about this. We're all born with a negative mindset. Every day when you get up in the morning, especially before coffee, you have to make sure that you don't think negative about your day. And heaven help you if you stub your toe before coffee. Because you know, what are you thinking? It's going to be a bad day. And I can't tell you how many times when I had a bad morning, I had a bad afternoon and a bad evening, and I said, see, I knew it was going to be a bad day. Cultivating a wealth mentality means from the time you get up in the morning, from the time you go to sleep, you say this: I am going to have a great day in the cannabis industry today. I'm going to have people contact me out of the blue that want to invest in my company. That are new clients. It happens to you because you cultivate a wealth mentality. You do that in cannabis, you will be shocked at how many customers and clients you have on a regular basis that you didn't try to get. They just found you. This thought life will attract the correct investors easily and quickly. So some people are like, man, we know a personal gentleman that our team has had many interesting discussions with, and we know that he's taken his concept to over 30 investors and investment companies. Every single one said no. Now, that means you have anti-momentum. Right? so if one person says no, that's bad luck. A second person says no, coincidence. 3, you better look at your pitch deck and your business plan. And if you don't know what both of those are, come talk to me afterwards. We got a lot of work to do. So what that means is he has a pattern of not being able to track the right people in his life in his cannabis business. All right. Now, this person who has this thought life, their confidence is not unfounded, but rather exerted effortlessly because of the business infrastructure that they have created. If I say to you, let me see your website, let me see your email list, your database, let me see your business plan, your pitch deck, let me see the infrastructure that you've created. If you have all that and you say, man, I love my company, guess what that does? When you come to a live event or you're Zooming somebody for the 50th time, guess what you're going to feel? Confidence that what you're talking about, you have a solid foundation. That is extremely important if you're talking to investors, because investors pick up just like this without your wavering in your self-confidence. So make sure you have done your due diligence. Because investors trust a person like this confident person, they trust their word. It doesn't mean they're going to skip over their due diligence and they're not going to perform it. But they know when somebody's blowing smoke because they have met so many people that have blown smoke and they know exactly how it smells a mile away. All right, let's look at this next part. There's no FailSafe Investments. Look at this. This was in 2018, December. This happened. I love this statistic. GW Pharma reported that their sales were $4.7 million in 2 months. Struggling, right? Suffering. $5 million in 2 months. Look what it said. With 4,500 patients from 500 physicians is still losing money. Do you know what we found in the cannabis industry? If you have enough money, your bad business skills don't matter. This is shocking. Shocking. If you got a couple $100 million in the bank, you can be a freaking idiot and you'll make it in cannabis. Come on now. Some of you haven't been in the industry long enough. This is funny. I mean, you walk into a place and you say, show me your staff. Here's my staff. How you been doing? Oh, no, we've been killing it. Really? How long? I'm going to be using a real illustration. How long have you been in business? 18 months. Great. What was your highest cash flow month? Well, we haven't had one yet. How much money are you spending per month? $100,000 a month. Really? 100,000. Okay, so that's $1.8 million. No, we spent about $2.5 million in the first 18 months. Great. Show me your sales script after 18 months. You know what they said to me? What is that? Bad sign. When their lab blew up 2 months ago, it didn't surprise us. Because you know what? You can throw money at something that doesn't work and still make it work. However, if you don't have all those millions in the bank, my encouragement, make it work right the first time. Oh, this is great, isn't it? $5 million loss. All right, so let's look at the largest. Now let's go on the investor side. So for some of you in the room that you're investors, you have a couple 100,000, a couple 100 million, whatever you got in your back pocket, okay? And you want to invest in this. Here's how to shortchange 99% of all cannabis businesses is the secret I'm about to share with you. I'll never forget, I was in Denver and I was sitting across about 2.5 years ago with an extractor. He was a very young man, and I said to him, I said, tell me about how you're doing with your new extraction company. He said, man, I'm killing it. My first month, I made $2 million net profit. I said, holy cow, you are killing it. How did you start? No, my uncle won the lottery in Louisiana. I said, really? I said, what did he do? No, he gave me $5 million and said, have some fun. Here's some play money. I said, well, what'd you do? He goes, well, I'm an engineer, so I said, I can build an extraction unit. I said, well, that's cool. How'd it work? He says, no, I built it all. I had it shipped over from China. And my first month, I made $2 million. I said, awesome. Do you have a business card? He goes, no. I said, well, why not? And he goes, well, I haven't gotten there yet. This is cannabis, remember? You put the cart before the horse. And I said, okay, where did you put the $2 million? He goes, no, in my personal account. I said, your personal bank account? He goes, yeah, I don't have a company yet. Okay, so you don't have a business card? No, you don't have a business. No, you put $2 million in your first month in your personal account. Yeah, bad sign. So let's look at the investor's secret business card to business plan. If you're an investor, if you ask those 2 questions, it will answer 99% of the questions you have in your mind. So here's what's fun. We see all these investors pouring into the cannabis space, and they have about 50 questions they want to ask each person. I say to them, don't ask 50 questions. You're wasting your breath, and you're probably wasting your time with the wrong people. Ask 2 questions. Can I have a business card, and can I see a business plan? And if they have those 2 things, they're in the top 1% of all companies we have interviewed for money. So let's take a look at what that means, because this is really, really deep stuff. For those of you, how many of you are in general business? Raise your hand, general business. Anybody? Oh, look at all the people. I am so sorry. I'm probably boring you, because you know these things. Here's what you call a business card. We all have them if you're a general business. Okay, here's what it looks like. You have a registered name of a company on the card. Now, for those of you all in cannabis, this is brand new information. Okay, then number 2, if it says .outlook, .yahoo, .gmail, do not go past. Don't go to jail. No. .yahoo means .yahoo. It means they don't have a company. You know, right now we're going to be doing some business consulting with a company that's going to come up and share called Pistachio. They just got their domain name before they're even launching their product because they know you put the right foot in front of the left foot. It's awesome. Love it. This means that if they have a registered name and they have their domain right here, name of company, right domain, if they don't have one, don't ask another question about their company. They're not a real company, and they might not be here in the industry tomorrow. Anybody ever wasted a half an hour on somebody that you wish you wouldn't have in the cannabis industry, or is it just me? Oh, good. Okay, good. If you ask a person for their business card and they don't have one, say it was great to meet you, and you go to the next person, because we don't have enough time in our company to waste on people that aren't serious in cannabis. So that will save you a lot of time, and it saved us a lot of time. Number 2, the business plan. So, do you know why you need a business card before you get a business plan? This is really important because as an investor, you need to think very carefully about what a business card really is. If an entrepreneur can't do even the littlest things accurately, they will not be responsible for repaying you with integrity. We have talked to investor after investor who has lost money in the industry because the people that they believed in didn't do even the smallest things that they signed a contract or a handshake to do. And we all know those people. If you don't have a business card, you shouldn't even be invested in. Now, the business plan is not what a general business plan should look like. I have received a 168-page business plan in the cannabis industry, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't have time to read books right now. I am really, really busy. So I want to share with you the simplicity of a business plan because this is so important. Now, you're not putting any IP in your business plan to have an NDA. By the way, anybody in here tired of signing NDAs besides me? Anyone? Good Lord, I've signed more NDAs in the last 3 years than I've signed in 20 years in general business. Everybody's afraid that you're gonna steal their IP. You know what? We've had more people steal our IP in 3 years than in 20 years in business. I signed NDAs with all of them. An NDA means absolutely nothing to a person who has no integrity. So let's talk about a business plan because this is something that's so simple. So when somebody says to me they got a business card, they say, David, I'm looking for investment. I ask them for my next question to get money. All I need is this right here, a 5-page business plan. Do you know why it's a 5 to 10? And I say 5 to 10. I know some people like to be superfluous with words. You know, they're kind of grammarians. You know, they love English language. They can't do it 5, but they can do it in under 10. If you can give me a 5 to 10-page business plan and you have what it takes to get funded, you know what we'll do? We'll send that to investors. Because investors have enough time to read a 5 to 10-page business plan. If you give 11-page, you know what they're going to say? Sorry, I don't have enough time. Do you know why? We interviewed 11 different investment companies. 5 to 10 pages is the amount of mental capacity that they have to read your business plan. So for instance, we had something called Invest-A-Pitch for the hemp industry. We had this a couple of years ago. It was incredible. It was international. We had people flying from California, which for me is another country. We had people flying from Mexico City. We had people flying from Oregon. We had people flying from Washington. We had people drive from all across Colorado. We had 21 people there. We had 6 companies, all that wanted funding. And we said to them, if you give us these 7 things, we can get you funded. Every single company that pitched, all 6 of them, every single one of them got all of the funding that they needed. That followed our directions. If I said to you, if you can give me a 5 to 10-page business plan and it makes sense, we can get you funded. If you give us a 17-page And the investor says this, I'm sorry, it's 17 pages, won't look at it. Next, you just lost your opportunity. One of the biggest lessons and one of the best quotes from our $24 billion hedge fund manager partner, he just told me a couple months ago, he's waited over a year and a half to share this deep secret. He said, David, I'm going to share with you over dealing with billions of dollars that I've invested in all these different companies in over 30 years. I'm going to give you my biggest sentence, and you can use it. You can quote me. And I sat down. I was ready to write. And he said something that I never want you to forget, because I hope this isn't you, and I hope this isn't your partners. People, I quote, people would rather be right than be rich. As an executive coach for over 20 years and over 250 companies in over 20 countries around the world, I can tell you that statement is true. People would rather be right than be rich. When we coach people, guess what we say to them? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to take your company to a multi-million-dollar level? And if they say yes, and we develop a brilliant strategy, and they say, I don't want to do it that way. And we say, okay, but what you've been doing hasn't given you multi-millions. No, I'd rather be right than be rich. My encouragement to you is, it's better to be wrong and be rich than be right and be broke. So what does this 5-page business plan show investors? Well, here's what it does. It ensures that your integrity is interwoven throughout the entire process, from the idea to the end result. Because a person that doesn't take the time to write the 5 pages shouldn't be given the hundreds of thousands or tens of millions, because they don't deserve it. Because if you don't put the effort in the small things, you'll never do what it takes when the big obstacles come. So, here's what it looks like. What is the worst case scenario when it comes to investments? I don't know about you, but we have heard some horrific stories about bad partnerships. I mean, sometimes it was on a daily basis. We would have somebody call us up and say, hey, David, Michaela, Carrie, let me tell you about the horrible experience I just had because I had to buy out my business partner because they were dead weight, or because they stole my ideas, or they started another company and stole all of our clients. Let me tell you about the horrifics of what I just went through. And we want to talk about what is the worst case scenario between getting the wrong investor. And by the way, your intuition sometimes is broken in the cannabis industry when it comes to investments. Man, can people talk up a really good game that are investors? They're going to come in. They're going to be a silent partner. They're going to give you $10 million. And then you have the people on this side that talk up a good game and say, man, I got a great idea. I got a great company. It's the next Google. The investor and entrepreneur become embittered enemies, and we've seen the best of friends lose their friendship over money in the cannabis industry. They lose massive capital, which can cause bankruptcy for both, because we've seen people put every penny as an investor in a company they believed. And so the person that started it put all their money in, and it failed, and they lost everything and had to liquidate. They went bankrupt. Because 1 + 1 = 2 or 10,000, if you have a lot of momentum, if you partner with the wrong person, it's like a drain for that capital, and you'll never see a cent if it's the wrong person. They exit the industry brokenhearted. They never return again. They say this, I wish I never would have gotten involved with that person. I wish I never would have gotten involved in the cannabis industry. And it puts a black eye for all of us that are called to this industry, that are passionate with it, that are making money in it, and that we care about other people and how the plant is changing our lives and the planet. We were there in Boulder doing business, and there were a couple gentlemen to my right. There was about 20 or 30 of us there having a beer, and we're enjoying life, and we're talking about how cannabis has changed our life, our business. And these two gentlemen were over there about 24, 25 years old, and they were kind of standing there with their arms crossed, and they had this despondent look, and they were kind of speaking out of their mouth on the right and left side. And I eventually had to go over to them, and I said to them, listen, I can't help but notice you guys aren't doing good. Would you be honest with me and share what's going on in your life? And I said, well, about a year ago, we opened this amazing cannabis company. We're doing CBD. We had all this amazing IP, and we thought we got the perfect investor. And what happened is this guy was above board. He was ethical. We checked his background. We did reference checks. It was awesome. Little did we know that in the contract that him and his legal snitch, legal underground prick did, is they put a clause in there that was so subtle that even their own lawyers couldn't catch it. And now a year later, everything was gone. All of their IP was stolen. All the money was gone. And they both were let go from their own company because of the way that it went down. That is the worst case scenario in cannabis, is that you can be screwed out of your IP, out of your emotion, out of everything you put into that. That's the worst case scenario. And if you've not understood that, and if you're not willing to sometimes lose it all, you won't be in the industry, because the rest of us have gone through exactly that. Well, what's the best case scenario? Well, the best case scenario, obviously, is that the entrepreneur and the investor, what? Become lifelong friends. We have people in this room that we know we're going to die with. You know, I mean, cannabis is hardcore people. We're going to be smoking till the end. You know, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, you know, it's like smoked fish. It never goes bad. You know, and they're establishing a globally impacting organization that's revolutionary. And they wake up every morning and they say this: I'm so thankful I'm alive, because what I'm doing today is going to change people's lives when I'm well past my 60s, 70s, 80s. When I'm in the ground, what I'm doing today is going to make a difference in the world. And that's where you want to be with the cannabis industry. So as part of the co-founders of the Hemp Business Advisors, our focus is to coach people who are entrepreneurs, executives, coach teams, and help them to have a long-term plan, to prepare for them to exit, to sell their company, to coach them so that they can truly grow in an industry that they will be with forever. And if that's you, we look forward to talking with you afterwards. My name is David. I'm one of the co-founders of the Hemp Business Advisors. It's been an honor and pleasure to talk to you today. Looking forward to doing business with you in the future. Thank you.